Happy St. Patrick's Day. I deserve a pinch. I don't have anything green on today. Today's Thursday. I'm off work. I took today as vacation day because it's spring break. So I hope everyone is having some fun that is able to safely and like not thinking about college right now. So yeah, because it's a little slow at work, I decided to take a 4-day weekend. So I hoped I was going to be able to vlog for it. I haven't vlogged yet this year, which I've been wanting to. And I figure this might be a good weekend to do it because it's 4 days and there's stuff I really need to do. There's like typical chores that need to get done: dishes, laundry, need to clean my partner's room, and then there's some funner things that I would like to do as well, including pruning back our Asian pear tree, gardening, and replacing a half barrel that has one of our mailboxes in it, as well as reading. Obviously, we have just a little over 2 weeks before, exactly 2 weeks actually, before the end of March. I have just finished yesterday I finished my 5th book for the month, which was great, but I am having a hell of a time reading physically. I have 2 books that I'm in the middle of right now. I have this Poison Heart by Kalyn, which I'm a decent chunk of the way through. I'm just a little over 100 pages. Not that I'm not liking it. It's taken me a couple weeks. It's just that I haven't had like set aside any particular time to actually read. But yeah, I would like to find some time to read this Poison Heart, and I'm wondering if I just like can have timer for everything so I can just like either get through a couple things and then take like an hour break to read or something. I'm also currently listening to Artificial Condition by Martha Wells. I just started that yesterday after I finished the 5th book. I have a couple other things that I would like to listen. It's kind of, when it comes to audiobooks, I'm kind of like whatever happens to interest me at the time. Mostly because I have like 3 different apps that I go through. I go through Libby, which goes through my library. I go through Libro, and then I also have Audible, which it's not my account, it's actually my brother's account. So right now I'm listening to Artificial Condition by Martha Wells. This is the 2nd book in the Murderbot series, and it's only about 3 hours long. I'm already 14% into it, which isn't saying much. I think that's like 14 minutes in. And I listened to it on 1.5 speed. So I'm probably going to get that finished today, and then I'll have to see what other, what else I would like to listen to. I'm just kind of looking through my brother's Audible right now just to see what he has. It looks like he's currently listening to Moby Dick by Herman Melville, which is interesting. He's been really into classic sci-fi, and I don't purchase anything through his just because he actually has some books that I'm interested in. I read Jurassic Park earlier this month because it was on his account. Who Censored Rabbit by Gary Wolfe is another one that he's been really wanting me to read. So we'll see what he has. He has a lot of classic sci-fi books on here, and I know he's talked to me about a couple of them. So I'll have to see. So we'll just have to see. So I figured I'd take you along with me to see how my reading goes for this weekend, long weekend, as well as some gardening, some chores. So yeah. Good morning. Not the best angle, not the best messy bun, but I ain't going anywhere, so whatever. It is now Friday, March 18th. I did find some green today. Not that it matters, but I did find a shirt that I'm willing to get dirty. I didn't end up reading as much of This Poison Heart like I had wanted to yesterday. I actually did go outside and moved my strawberry plants, like garden. Okay, so that was my partner, because we ended up getting some disappointing news. Every year we go camping in July at a local lake, and this last year we ended up calling a little late and getting a not so great camping spot. Like, the fact that we were able to get a camping spot was like amazing. This year, it's still relatively early in the season. Like, the reservations opened up on the 14th, like 4 days ago. They are completely booked for July, which is when we typically go. Mostly because any later than that, and there's risk of wildfires. Any earlier than that, it's really too cold to enjoy the water. My partner was calling because we were trying to figure out a plan B. Actually, this is technically plan H, because we had like plan A through G was just campsites at that particular campground. So now this is plan H, which is figuring out 2 other camp spots that aren't as well known. So it's gonna be interesting. We're kind of disappointed because we always like going to this spot every year. We have been going since we started dating. So this is our 6th year doing it. Always go like catfishing and trout fishing, all kinds of fishing and swimming, and just in general just getting away from technology and society, and enjoying nature. I'm sure like other campgrounds around this particular lake have the same stuff, but at the same time, like not last year but the year before, this lake was like devastated with fire, and the campsite that we normally go to was like spared from that, and we're not sure how everything else was able to survive, if at all. There's 2 major things that I would like to do today for sure, and that's to replace the mailbox planter and to cut back our Asian pear tree. So yeah, but yeah, I didn't get very much reading done in terms of This Poison Heart because I transplanted my strawberries. Still, I don't want to say 2/3 of it. I think I only read like a chapter yesterday. Still enjoying it, for the most part. I did finish Artificial Condition, which I enjoyed. I don't think I enjoyed it quite as much as the first one, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. We meet a couple like new people, new characters, and one of them I absolutely really enjoyed. Art, fantastic. I love art. But yeah, it was fun. It was interesting and fun, and a quick read. So I will definitely be getting more to this series. And then I started As Long as the Grass Grows by Dina. I'm sorry, I can't quite remember name. By Dina Gilio Whittaker. I meant to listen to this a while ago because my university had like a faculty only book club for it. I'm sorry, I say it that way because I feel like there's this weird, because I don't want to be a part of it. I feel left out. Faculty book club for it, and I meant to read it because they were also going to have a chat, I believe with Dinah, but I can't remember. So yeah, that's what I'm currently listening to, and it's about what is this about? This is about the Indigenous fight for environmental justice from colonization to Standing Rock. So far I'm only like 14% of the way in. I also looked through Libby last night through my library and found a bunch of stuff that I would also like to get to the point where I have like 10 books checked out. I don't think I'll get to all 10 of them at all. It was just things that I had options for once I finish As Long as the Grass Grows, which who knows. So I'm sure I'll finish it. I just don't know if I'll finish it today or not. I'm hoping I can. So that is 6 books down so far. There's 5 here and then Artificial Condition. So I think I'm doing good.
There's a lot of colors, I don't know where to go. See a lot of colors, only feeling blue. There's a lot of colors, lost within a haze. Don't rely on others to get you through the maze. The dreams are not the same for me, standing by the shore while you're on the open sea. Cannot take this anymore. There are a lot of voices drowning in the sea. There's too many voices talking back at me. There are a lot of choices waiting to be made. Too many choices making me afraid. Dreams are not the same for me, standing by the shore while you're on the open sea. Cannot take this anymore. The dreams are not the same for me, standing by the shore while you're on the open sea. Cannot take this anymore. A certain shade of blue will always remind me of you. Trying to figure out how I'm supposed to get through. The dreams are not the same for me, standing by the shore while you're on the open sea. Cannot take this anymore. The dreams are not the same for me, standing by the shore while you're on the open sea. Cannot take this anymore. Cannot take this anymore. Cannot take this anymore.
Good morning. It is Saturday, March 19th. I have my breakfast of scrambled eggs, tofu, and bacon. Yesterday, I didn't get as much done as I had wanted. I ended up, I did the barrel, which you saw. I did not cut back my apple tree because as soon as I was done with the barrel, my lower back started hurting. So that was great. So I just kind of took that as a chance to just relax, get lunch, a late lunch, and knit a bit while listening to As Long as Grass Grows, which I am now, which I've been listening to like most of the day yesterday. I'm 75% of the way in. So I'm liking it so far. I think it's really educational. I am glad that I was able, like, I don't know, I feel like I could have listened to it sooner, but I'm glad I'm listening to it as I am, like currently, because Dinah, I'm sorry, I forgot. Dinah Gilio Whitaker does mention Roxanne Dunbar Orris's an Indigenous People's History of the United States, or of North America, of the United States, North America. Anyway, so, which I read a couple years ago, but like now just seems like a good time. It is a little frustrating. It is. So, like, if I was not doing anything while listening to this book or reading this book physically, I'd have a harder time with it because it can be really frustrating because of these cycles that Dinah Gilio Whitaker talks about, of just the constant pushback Native people have had with government as well as society, thinking that they know better than Indigenous people. Sorry if you can hear my cat. But yeah, it's as it is because I'm slightly distracted, and which I'm sure takes away from it a bit, but at the same time, like, to me it's nice because then it's like I'm intaking the information, but I'm not like emotionally responding to it, which is probably bad, and that's probably means I'm distancing myself from it or like disassociating myself with it, but it's like I almost kind of have to, because right now this is a little too close to home because of where I currently work is a university that recently became Cal Poly, and is really promoting TEK, which is traditionally ecological knowledge, which is essentially like how Indigenous people locally and throughout kind of like, I don't know, that's what they're proposing and that's what they're promoting, but like they like aren't talking with CAFES, which is the Coalition of American Indian Faculty and Staff on campus. They are not listening to Native American studies. They did in the beginning, but now not so much. Yeah, it's just another colonial system thinking they know better than Indigenous people. So it's worrisome. So listening to this, it's nothing new. It's just another part of the system that has issue with letting Indigenous, yeah, I don't know. It's scary. Anyway, so yeah, I did my barrel yesterday, and then listened to As Long as Grass Grows, and then as I listened to As Grass Grows, I kind of like caught up on YouTube for a bit and knitted while eating some late lunch, and then Brad came home and we decided that we wanted sandwiches for dinner, and we took him to the beach, which has been something that we have been doing a lot lately, which I really like. our days off don't coincide with each other, and we both like to get outside. He more than me, but like he helps me remind myself that I like being outside. So when we do have time together, we like to try to be outside for a little bit if we have like the energy, because he's now manager and has a lot of responsibility and work, and he's also worked like 90 hours of overtime within the last 2 months. So when we do have a moment and it's nice outside, that's the other thing, we like to grab dinner and go to the beach and just kind of walk around a bit. So we were able to do that yesterday. Today is rainy and windy, so I cannot prune my apple tree as much as it needs to be. I need to do some things here on the computer. For instance, I am in the middle of editing. I'm really having a hard time like motivating myself to edit videos lately. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is edit a video, let it export, and then let it import into YouTube. And while it's exporting and importing, either do some more chores, which is like I need laundry done, or like put on some laundry and read more of This Poison Heart. I'm about halfway through now, so it's not too bad. It's just I don't know. One chapter at a time. That's all I have to do. That's all I can do. Ultimately, right now, all I want to do is listen to more of As Long as Grass Grows, and I just want to listen to audiobooks and just play Stardew Valley, because it's been months since I played Stardew Valley.
I mean, we took the long way. We had kids while we were in college, and we stayed in college for like 8 years or something. And then
Good morning. It's the next day. I'm finding I have forgotten how to vlog, and particularly I have noticed that I don't vlog as soon as Brad gets home from work, because I'm still kind of weirded out by filming in front of him. Don't know why. So yeah, today is my last day before I have to head back to work. I would have several things I would like to do today. Firstly, I am waiting for my brother to get out of the shower so I can use his car, or to ask him to use his car, because I want to go to the market to get stuff for nachos. That's all I've been wanting is pork nachos. But we don't have much of anything for it, so I need to go to the store for that. We also need some other things from the store. Brad has my car because his car is in the shop. And yeah, I would also, it looks like it's a fairly nice day, partly cloudy, some wind, not nearly as bad as yesterday, so I'm going to try to prune this apple tree. I'm determined to do it. I also need to finish sorting my clothes. I started doing that yesterday. I finished As Long as the Grass Grows by Dinah Gilio Whitaker. 5 out of 5 stars. It was, I think, really important, a really important read. I wouldn't start off with it if like you're just getting in, just figuring out like I don't know, I want to do a video of like if you're just wanting to figure out Indigenous issues. This I would say is definitely at least second or third, because I feel like you need some kind of base to jump into this one. But I did really appreciate it. I really enjoyed it, particularly because I have read some of the books that they mentioned in here. But I think it was also just really important, and it brought up a bunch of issues that I hadn't known about either. So yeah, I think it's really good, and another read that I suggest people read after they read a couple other books. So I also watched Fife, I think they're calling it. Okay, so I got cut off randomly because my mom showed up. So I'm going to use her car instead of his truck. So, but it's weird because her car is a BMW, and I feel like anytime it gets close, yes, to her display screen, my camera turns off. So if you slip and it goes away, if I cut out, that's why. It's curious, very curious. Kind of like that Netflix thing where if you try to like film Netflix, Netflix kind of has something that either won't let you record or will just turn off. I don't know. See, it did it again. But I'm still recording. Weird. Anyway, what was I talking about? I am off to go get some stuff for dinner. Like I said, I've been wanting pork nachos, so getting stuff for that so I can put it in the slow cooker. I have until 11:30 to do that because my mom needs to leave again. I'm also getting some coffee because I would like some. I have not had breakfast yet, and my mom wants tea, so I guess we're going to Starbucks too. So there's that. I think that's all I'm gonna be able to do, really. So I am testing out an audiobook. I'm kind of hesitant to go into it, but it's called The Problem with White Women, A Counter History of White Feminism by, I think the author's name's Kyla, but I'm not entirely sure because I just put in my stats for As Long as Grass Grows, and Kyla Garcia narrates that. So I don't know if the author is, and I can't look at my phone right now. I'll tell you here in a little bit. Okay, let's see. So it is called The Trouble with White Women, A Counter History of Feminism. Oh, it's by Schuler. So yeah, that was right. It's just the last name I needed to remember. And there's a foreword by Brittany Cooper. So the reason why I was curious about this one is because in As Long as Grass Grows, it mentions that feminism had been inspired by Indigenous matriarchy, or the matriarchy that in some indigenous nations had within North America. And after I was talking about this earlier and got cut off because my mom showed up, but that Fife, a live show that Lou and Rachel had put on, was talking about intersectionality in indigenous culture and like its relation to feminism. And they had Sel from Book Sel and Kim from Native Book Lady Warrior on to talk about it. And as just the stuff that they were talking about made me like recommend As Long as Grass Grows. But it also Lou's kind of back history of feminism has me curious about where, like, what is the history of feminism. So that's why I've been looking at this book for a bit, which is the trouble with white women. And I actually have a friend at the university a student who actually read it recently for one of their classes, and they enjoyed it, and they were talking about buddy reading it with me. Unfortunately, they were waiting on the school to get a copy, and I wasn't in the mood at the time. In the meantime, they've like created this I think they've called it the Radical Book Club, so where they read books like this, but like which is really exciting. But I think it's for students. So yeah, anyway, I'm testing out the waters. I'm in the introduction. So far, I'm liking it. It'll be interesting. I think I'll go ahead and continue with it. The reason why I was hesitant is because I've read a lot of nonfiction, and I kind of mentioned earlier that like the reason why I was able to get through As Long as Grass Grows without getting irritated is because I kind of had to disassociate from it. And it's easy for me to do that when it's an audiobook and I'm doing something else, because then my mind isn't solely focused on that. Though in reality, like, yes, I recognize that I disassociated with it, but I also just kind of enjoyed learning more. And this is what nonfiction, I think, does with me in particular, is that I just enjoy learning more. I've constantly been one that loves school. I love learning new things. So I think with this one in particular, I'm on a nonfiction kick, and just to keep going with it. So, and the fact that it kind of ties in with the last book I read is perfect. So I'm going to just go ahead with that. I need to go get groceries and coffee. I'll update y'all later. first, okay. I'm gonna wrap this up, but first I want to make a couple of apologies. One, the soundtrack to this vlog. I was editing it earlier, and it was just picking stuff that I liked, but had some, I don't know. I'm not great at it, so I apologize for that. I also apologize because I had a couple of B-roll images of the pork that is in the slow cooker for the nachos, because I did intend on updating you of how delicious it was going to be and the final product. However, it is now like almost 7 and it's still not done. So this is my first time making it by myself, because Brad normally makes this, and when he does, it's few and far between. It's not nearly as often as I would like. So because he finds making this tedious, so I took it on this time, and without fully knowing how he makes it and with the understanding that it wasn't going to be as good as his. Not just because I don't think it's not because I don't think I'm a good cook or anything, but because, you know, if you make it yourself, it's not quite as good as if someone else makes it for you, even if you do it like the exact same way. Yeah, I mean, something's going to be different in some ways. I know that, but also because as you're cooking it, you kind of get desensitized to some of the products. So it's like by the time you actually eat it, it's kind of just like, you know, it's kind of a chore to cook it. So like when you actually eat it, it's kind of like, okay. So that was part of it. But also like Brad came home and looked at the crock pot and like, you wouldn't put way too much pork into the crock pot. I used the whole pork shoulder, which probably wasn't necessary, but at the same time, like I wanted leftovers for lunch tomorrow. So yeah, so it's gonna be a bit, and I was hoping to get this vlog edited and done tonight, so it can go up relatively soon. So yeah, let's go over the books that I did manage to finish for this long weekend. I managed to read. I did not finish this Poison Heart. I'll put the dust jacket on it because like I feel like I'm doing a disservice by not showing off this great cover any chance I get. I did not complete This Poison Heart by Kalyn Bayron, but I did get further into it than I was. I feel like I got like 100 more pages into it. I am currently at 207. I have like another 120 to go. So I think ultimately just a chapter at a time, that's all I can really do. With the understanding that I am I have a hard time just sitting down and reading, unless there's something going on in the background. So the only time I was able really to read this over this weekend was when I had files exporting or importing onto my computer. So that's a me thing, and just really just need to find time to calm down, sit down without feeling like I have to be doing something. So yeah, hopefully I have no doubt that I'll hopefully finish it before the end of March so that I can give you a full review of it in my March wrap up. I also finished Artificial Condition by Martha Wells. This is the second book in the Murderbot series. I listened to this through my library and did enjoy it, particularly because we are still following Murderbot as they are trying to figure out and navigate their life after the first book, and we meet a couple new people or new characters, particularly Art, who just made me laugh. Their interaction with Murderbot is just fun, and we also get a bit more of a background on Murderbot. So I did enjoy this. I think I rated this a 4.5. I didn't, or like 4-star. I didn't quite. I mean, thinking about it, I think I enjoyed it as equally as I did the first book, which is All Systems Red. I can't remember what I rated that one, but I would say this is a 4-star, 4.5. I also finished reading As Long as Grass Grows by Dinah Gilio Whitaker. This is, what is the subtext for this? As Grass Grows, the Indigenous Fight for Environmental Justice from Colonization to Standing Rock by Dinah Gilio Whitaker. This one, I mean, it pretty much says it all within the title and subtitle. The Indigenous Fight for Environmental Justice, and basically the problems that we end up facing within environmental justice, as well as government policies and laws, not only federally but statewise. And it was, yeah, I think before I said I kind of was disassociating with it just because it can be a lot. I would also I think too, like, I'm not trying, I think what I was saying before of how, like, you know, if you want to learn more about Indigenous issues, that this shouldn't be your first book going into it. I think it depends on who you are. So, for instance, I knew of Standing Rock and I knew the problems that came with that. Not to the extent that it describes in this book, but I had a sense of what was going on, but I don't know if that's because I am who I am as either an Indigenous person or someone that is aware of Indigenous issues, whether it's because I'm Indigenous or I'm just fully aware of, like, not fully, but pretty aware of it. I know that I could be better, but, like, it's my life. It was... So, like, I feel like if you're an Indigenous person and you're already pretty aware of what's going on, I feel like you could easily go into this book. However, if you're, like, a non-Indigenous person and have no ground, basically, in terms of learning about Indigenous issues, this shouldn't necessarily be your first book. I feel like that's just my personal opinion. I would definitely suggest, like, Roxanne Dunbar Orris's book of An Indigenous People's History of the United States, just to get a background. I don't know. That's just, I don't know. If you're Indigenous and you've read both those books, like, or if you read those, like, let me know your thoughts. But I do hope at some point in the future to be able to, like, I don't know, make suggestions on that. I also feel like I'm not the best person to do that, because, or to make suggestions of what you should read first, mostly because you should be doing your own research on that. But otherwise, I still feel like I'm kind of the new kid on the block, even though I've been, like, a booktuber for a couple of years now, but, like, it still feels like I myself am still learning. So, like, how can I really recommend when I'm still trying to figure it out? So I don't know. That's just, yeah, how I feel about it. But overall, gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It brought up a lot of issues that I did know about. It brought up a lot of issues that I did not know about it. Some of them in my own backyard. So yeah, that was pretty, it was always interesting, and I think it was really important, particularly as it'll be important too as going forward as my university kind of just to see where my university is going in terms of TEK. So we'll see. So before I was talking about The Trouble with White Women by Kyla Schuler, I did start this one, but didn't start it, like, officially on my Goodreads or Storycraft, because I decided to put it aside for right now. Not that I'm, like, not into it right now, but I did start reading it, and I think I'll like it. I'm putting it on hold right now. I'm reading it. I will read it or will listen to it, but I have it on Libro and know that I can get to it anytime. In the meanwhile, I did end up checking out, like, 10 books from my library and through Libby, so 10 audiobooks, one of them being Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. And I kind of just, like, started listening to this briefly and was actually really enjoying it because it was magic. It's magic based right off the bat. So we are following, I don't want to give too much away, mostly because I feel like the summary already does, or following Amelia and her twin sister I thought it was Victoria, but apparently it's Victoria, who are witches living among humans, whose family owns a Sicilian restaurant, and I believe they are in Sicily. And immediately off the bat, as I was listening to it, I was enjoying the magic, the talk of the magic and the folklore, or folklore, but the myths and legends that Amelia and Victoria are not taking seriously, despite having magic. So I think it's because the reason why I'm like wanting to go ahead with this one is because I'm kind of missing that from this Poison Heart. Not that I'm not enjoying this, but it's just taking a little bit for Breezy's to kind of it's taken a little bit to get the ball rolling on this. I'm where I am right now, like we're still trying to figure out how Breezy's has her magic, who her family was, and like what they meant to the small town that they that they were in, that Breezy's had inherited the house to. So it's just kind of taken a little bit, and it's not quite as much magic as I would like there to be, while this one's like so far like a lot of magic. So I'm still reading both of these, and hopefully we'll be able to tell you more about them in my March wrap up. But otherwise, that is it for my 4-day long weekend reading vlog slash, I guess it was more of a gardening vlog than anything. I think in terms of that, I was very successful for this weekend. So hopefully I'll be able to vlog more in the future. But it was fun to get back into this. So thank you for spending 4 days with me, and I hope that you are in the mental mindset to enjoy your reading. I will talk to you again in another video very soon. Cheers.